Let's slide over to the fellas. The Final Four already set, and UConn is a minus 200 favorite to win it all after rolling through the first 4 games by an average of 28 points per. Fellow 1 seed Purdue next on the odds board at plus 250. They also were pretty impressive in their own right, though overshadowed by UConn. They won their games by 21 points or more. NC State and Bama rounded out 15-1, 17-1, respectively, in the futures market. Good evening to our friend Dalen Cuff, back in the luscious home studios there of the Cuff Estate. All right, it looked like for about 20 minutes UConn may have a fight on their hands with the fight in Illini. Then in the second half, the difference was proven on the scoreboard there. So when you look at this UConn team, is there anyone that can stop them at this point that's left?
Well, I'm hearing that there's going to be a New York Times article written about Matt Painter, so there might be a Times handicap coming in here. No, I'm kidding. Clearly. Yes, Purdue can slow them down. I think Purdue can. That number, plus 210, and I will talk about more throughout the course of the week to win it. Pretty good value. Just the fact that, this isn't a bunch of slubs, and you do have a unique, singular talent in Zach Edey, who just went for 40 in their last game, that's more than capable of beating UConn. Now, that said, they got to beat NC State first, and I think UConn's not. They're going to walk past Alabama. It's just, guys, at this point in time, I'm not betting against UConn. We talked about it on the show the other day. Played the 8.5 against Illinois, and what they've done and how they've won is the most impressive part. They can do it in a half-court game. They can do it in a full-court game. They can grind you down on defense. They can exploit you on the inside or the exterior. There's so many ways to beat them. So I think they're winning this thing. I'm not taking them a minus 200.
Okay.
I think Purdue could give them a game. That is the question. Can somebody give them a game? And real quick, separately, on the women's side of things, guys, it is a family affair in the Cuff household. We got daughter downstairs, Kelsey downstairs. We're going to make dinner as soon as we're done here. Fire it up. I might LSU money line too.
There we go.
And I might fade Caitlin Clark's scoring prop bet too as well. So might be all in on the exact same plays. I don't know how I feel about that.
Maybe make some money on that, hang a picture or some wallpaper, literally anything in the background.
I'm busy. We're working on it.
You're not that busy. You're sitting here talking to us. You're really not that busy, okay? Let's be honest. Now, to your point, though, you make a very good point talking about the competition level. I mean, as good as UConn has been, battle-tested in the Big East, but through this tournament, the most we saw was what was supposed to be a decent Illinois team that had no problem packing it in. Anything you're doing futures related, I want you to keep this in mind with UConn. Number one, if they face Purdue, right now the projected point spread, 5.5. UConn minus 5.5. Talked to Ed Salmons at the Westgate today. Talked to Jeff Benson at Circa today. They both agreed on that. Salmons got back to me as well on what would happen if it's NC State. 14.5. 14.5. Now, keep in mind, that's right now. If they end up meeting, that would mean NC State had to beat Purdue, which probably helps their power rating at that time. But that's the projection as of right now. So when you're factoring in your futures, whether it's the rollover moneyline parlay, something like that, 5.5 and 14.5 would be the projections. 5.5 a lot for Purdue, who would clearly be the best team that that UConn has faced in this dance.
I mean, absolute wagon, these Huskies. 10 straight covers, one shy of the tournament record since it expanded, held by Villanova from 85 to 88. Joe, I come right back to you, and Dalen, you can follow up. If we can talk about UConn being the Goliath of this tournament, NC State, they are the David, they are the Cinderella. What do you make of this run? Can it continue against Zach Edey and Purdue?
Am I the worst person possibly to ask about this? I bet against them nonstop in the ACC tournament. I said, I'm not going to do it anymore. I jumped back on that train with Duke and got blasted again. Yep. So there's no one who can handicap NC State worse than this guy right here. Fascinated by what their tournament odds have looked like going back to the start of the Big East tournament, or excuse me, the ACC tournament. They were 150-1 for the longest time. They go into the dance. They win the ACC tournament, and they're still 150-1. Take a look at this. Before ACC, during ACC, and then going into the dance, it didn't move at all in their favor. It actually went up to 200-1 while they were winning. So then they get through, and they finally get a win, down to 100-1, 75-1. Now they're getting respect. Put this in perspective. At 150-1, they had a 0.6% chance. Then they went on a 9-game winning streak that included A, winning the ACC, and B, getting to the Final Four. And at 15-1, they now have a 6% chance of winning, from 0.6 to 6.
Unbelievable what they have done. 7 of those 9 wins as an outright underdog.
Yeah,
they're going to have to make it 10 or 9 out of 11 or 10, whatever it would be, if they want to finish this deal. But DJ Burns capturing the heart of America.
Yeah.
Great test with Zach Edey. All right, Dalen, you're up here. This NC State team. Like, what do you do with them? Do you just ride this train, or at this point now, is it like, stay away, see what happens, Purdue's too good?
Well, that's the thing is I was the antithesis of Joe during the ACC tournament. I thought there was some value there on them, and 11.5 against Duke. And then in this tournament, we've gone back and forth. I took Oakland the one day, but the last 2 games they've been a dog. I've been on them. This one, I think it's hard to ride the train because this man, as much as DJ Burns has captured the country's imagination, and those of us who have been watching the last couple of years, been calling him the Dancing Bear, love his personality, love his game. I think Edey's just going to present a massive problem for him because, as you see, he likes to get it on the wing and back guys down. If a double comes, he can play off of that and facilitates offense. Does a great job of it. Edey could probably single cover him, and I don't think you need to double. Just say, hey, let this guy try to score over a 7'4" dude. That's the player of the now soon to be 2-time player of the year in the country. And if he does that, you tip your hat to him. Outside of that, keep making other guys make plays once he kicks it out after the 1-on-1. If he can't get it 1-on-1, if he can't get his shot he wants, the matchup just doesn't look great to me. So I'm leaning right now to lay the points with Purdue, but may eat my words here because NC State has done what they've done, guys, has been historic right now, and it's been remarkably impressive. But I don't know if I'm going to back them with my money coming next weekend.
Rolling over NC State through this run. Just imagine if you had that type of foresight. Anita Marks, I'm going to bring you into this conversation. UConn and NC State specifically, how are you looking at both of these teams in the futures market?
So you can go to ESPN Bet and you could place a future bet that UConn is going to beat NC State in the championship. And you could get that at plus 450 for all the reasons. Let's start with UConn. Listening to you guys talk about just how remarkable they have been, right? I mean, let's marinate in this for a minute. They beat Illinois by 25 points by going 3 of 17 from behind the arc. That's just how phenomenal UConn has been. So we know UConn's going to be there. I agree with Dalen. I think UConn's going to win. But at what point, guys, are we going to start believing in this NC State team beyond DJ Burns? I mean, it's just like, could they be the team of destiny? There is something special going on with this team. I think they beat Purdue. I mean, don't stop believing. Come on, guys.
All right.
Joe, you can finish. Hold on to that feet.
You're going to get us sued. What are you doing?
Also, it's Monday. We got to ease into this whole thing. We got a whole week of this.